HighBridge, a division of Recorded Books, presents 1,000 Ways to Pay Attention, a memoir of coming home to my neurodivergent mind, by Rebecca Schiller. Read by Rebecca Schiller. For all the time luminous, with my love. February 2020. Test start. Blue square, red circle, blue circle, red square. Click. This feels like a race that I have lost from the start. My body is alive with potential movements, but I try not to give in to them. I'm aware of everything, all at once, which is too much and makes it hard to concentrate on the blue square, red circle, click. My thoughts bounce off the red circle and into the future when I tell Jared about the test. This result, that result, which result do I want it to be? Blue circle, click. I need to speed my brain up or make the shape slow down. Blue circle, red square, no click. But how? If I could just rewind 10 minutes and listen to the instructions again, perhaps it would be easier? That's what I'll do. I'll just go the tiniest half step back and try harder to pin it all down. The grey ping-pong size ball is attached to the middle of my forehead with a black sweatband. I'm wearing the child size, and at first it holds my head in its grip comfortingly. But as the minutes pass, the band constricts the circle of my skull with a line of future headache. I keep it on, though. The adult size doesn't have a single-use cover, and, according to the news, sanitary precautions are becoming important. As we get ready for the test to start, adjusting the equipment squeezed together in the corner of the office, the psychiatrist's assistant and I dance around this awkward issue of hygiene, unsure whether we are being overly cautious or not cautious enough. I am sitting where I have been told to sit, facing a camera at a laminate desk in front of a laptop. There is no window, and the room is small and impersonal. An examining couch behind me, clinical waste baskets and a sink to my left. It has not yet got to the stage where we think to wash our hands. The slickness in the well of my right palm as I take the black plastic button clicker makes me realise how nervous I am. The assistant's instructions are simple. All I have to do is stay in this chair for 20 minutes, pushing the button with my thumb every time the screen in front of me shows a matching shape sequence. A deliberately easy, deliberately boring series of colours and lines that many preschoolers could spot and sort with ease. Red square, click. Blue circle, no click. Blue circle, click. Blue square, no click. As the seconds pass, a time period designed to root out a mind that sputters and stalls without stimulation, the camera and ping-pong ball will record even the tiniest of my movements. Meanwhile, the computer program will watch for any slowing of reaction times, adding up my successes and failures, and tallying them against an average for my age and gender. It is normal to move around a little. I googled it. Anyone who sits in this chair will fail to see a handful of the matching pairs and will likely click once or twice when there is no match. But beyond that normal level of error exists a grey matter grey area. Beyond that, something more definitive. The percentiled spectrum of disorder. A spectrum that professionals understand through a lens of agreed-upon clinical criteria, and that those who live within it understand through their every breath. This is why I have chosen to come here today, to be graded on this scale, labelled, explained, worked out at last. This is what I wanted, wasn't it? This is why, the psychiatrist's assistant explains, she will sit behind me as I take the test, just out of sight, taking notes. I have done much harder things than sitting in a too-warm room, clicking or not clicking a button. Yet I'm breathing fast, and my lungs are stretched taut, the soon-to-split skin of an overwatered tomato after a drought. I no longer know how to be in this kind of electric-lit absence of a room. None of the versions of myself that I usually wear to camouflage this seem to fit. My fingers shake slightly with this disorientation. The ruffle of grass in a June breeze, the tiny bounce of a birch branch as a goldfinch lands. To cover my discomfort, I make 3 stupid jokes, which fall like stones onto the rubberized floor. An example test starts. I yank my mind back to the laptop and find red and blue shapes sliding past my eyes very, very quickly. I struggle to catch them before they disappear. They shimmer and blend with each other, and I am instantly jumbled and on the back foot. Oh. An hour ago, as my husband Jared drove me here, I watched the fields and forests of the English countryside turn into shopping centres and wondered whether my subconscious could skew the test result one way or the other. As we travelled the 25 miles across England's southeastern tip, I worried that a lifetime's practice could obscure my deficits, or that, in hopes of finally solving the problem of myself, I might conjure up symptoms that don't belong to me. Now that the shapes are in front of me, refusing to cooperate with my brain, I am realizing that, as a patient, I don't have that kind of power. But once a try-hard, always a try-hard, and so I lean forward, deepening my crow's feet and squint with concentration. I ready myself by pushing my hair out of my eyes and shaking my tilted head slightly, as if hoping to tip the fog out of my ears. There's a blonde hair caught on the purple sapphire of my engagement ring. Mine. A mane of 2 years of neglect now, elbow length with split ends and better than salon lightened by the sun. Why didn't I tie it back? Why am I making myself do this? Why didn't I just stay at home? This year, I decided not to make resolutions, not to wake every morning and tie each day to them, and not to spend the evening crying because once again the wind had blown those 12 hours loose. The year 2019 was difficult, but so was the year before, and the one before that, 2017, when we moved to the plot and more than my edges started to fray. So I wanted to find a new way to open myself to the future without expectation, and unfold the promise of the new year slowly and carefully. Yet, in my late winter garden, I couldn't help letting one hope in. As I went out to feed the hens, I spotted something in the mud. I told myself that the grey-green shoots were only grass, but the buds revealed themselves anyway, tiny, tightly closed spear tips that loosened into white bells. The snowdrops opened with an invitation to believe that whatever 2020 would bring, it would be better than the years before. And it will be. And it won't. Test start. Blue square, red circle, blue circle, red square, click. This feels like a race that I have lost from the start. My body is alive with potential movements, but I try not to give in to them. I'm aware of everything, all at once, which is too much and makes it hard to concentrate on the blue square, red circle, click. My thoughts bounce off the red circle and into the future when I tell Jared about the test. This result, that result, which do I want it to be? Blue circle, click. There is a clock on the metal and glass shelf to my left. It reads 10:46, and I already wonder what time the test started and how many minutes have gone by. Blue circle, red square, blue circle, click. I hear the noise of ballpoint pen on paper over my right shoulder. The assistant is writing something down. Anxiety prickles up my arms and into my throat as I wonder what note she could possibly be taking already. I haven't done anything yet. I am sitting so still, clicking this button as instructed in total silence, Though of course the silence exists only outside my head. Blue circle, click. My legs are very restless, but I try to keep them fixed in one position. Red square, click. I have one job, and I am determined to do it, yet the enormity of my effort is met by another, less helpful force. I should be lasered in on the test, but my mind is a kaleidoscope of blurry thoughts and questions. The task at hand, its interpretation, trying to read the woman sitting out of sight behind me, keeping all these tabs open, active and interlinked. Underneath this first avalanche of thought are many bigger picture wonderings about my family, my life, our way of life, and as these things pop up, they obscure the red circle, red square, no click. I hear the receptionist leading someone into the room next door. Babble, footsteps, door open, door close. A muffled discussion makes it through the plasterboard between us, and a single reassurance is audible. No one is trying to trip you up. The receptionist speaks in a voice that I remember from the 2 sentences we exchanged earlier. Has this reassurance made the woman on the other side of the wall feel more nervous or less? Blue square, click, click. As I depress the button uncertainly with my thumb, I realise that, ridiculously, embarrassingly, I'm going to cry, and there is probably nothing I can do about it. With as little movement as possible, red square, blue circle, click, I put my left hand on my right arm and discreetly dig my fingernails into the freckles there. I'm trying to dent the surface of my clammy body, a jolt of pain to stop the emotion, to bring my thoughts back to the task in hand, but I've sunk below my skin somehow. I'm naked, underneath the epidermis naked, as if my fat and bones and partially digested food are suddenly visible, and everyone can see all the bloody parts of my body, the ones I usually dress up in skin and shove out into the world as if they were a person. Perhaps if I knew how to press my nails into these usually concealed internal parts, I could shock my neurons into compliance. If I could pinch a piece of spleen, kidney, or, better still, brain tissue itself, the hurt might sharpen the edges of these fuzzy shapes. But I can't work out how to reach inside myself like that. All I have left is willpower, and I use it now to yank my attention back to the screen, a little too late. No click. I am confused and ashamed. None of my sleights of hand work in this place, and now a tear has escaped and is making its way down my right cheek. I decide to risk wiping it, disguising the movement as a nose scratch and treating myself to uncrossing and recrossing my legs at the same time. I need to stop this crying before the assistant notices, so, just for a second, I pretend there is night sky above me instead of ceiling tiles, a sliver of new moon in the west replacing the ugly brown water stain. But the squares and circles block out the stars, and I am sinking with the effort of separating them. No click. Every tendon itches with desire to help my muscles and bones escape this prison of immobility, and I daren't waste my allotted normal amount of movement with any more wipes of my wet face. Stillness is making me nauseous. I distract myself from the sick, swimmy sensation by listening for the tiny, almost non-sound, the regular beat as tears hit my skirt. The images on the screen don't make sense. The accompanying words that fill my head as I attempt to see, process, remember, and act on them are jumbling. Syllables I don't recognise. A language I don't speak. Red circle, red circle, blue, red, square, circle, circed, squircle, squed, urcle, equircle, uare, eu, bled, rue, click, no click. I'm screwing this up, and for the first time, there doesn't seem to be anything I can do to change it. No performance I can roll out, and no illusion of competence. There's no one to hide behind here. No last-minute miracle I can pull out of the bag. No way to fake it, no brilliant distraction, no covering humour, no meticulous preparation, no costume, no series of reminders and lists, no lie or excuse, no way to cancel at the last minute, no opt-out, no get-out, no convincing apology, no way to go back in time. I have finally been caught out. I take deliberate, slow breaths and try to overcome this realization before it overcomes me. Blue square, click, and become one with the red, blue, red computer. I tell myself that this button and these shapes are all that exist in matter, that my mind need only point itself toward this one easy task, that this moment is made only of here and now, that there is nothing else. Except this isn't true. It isn't easy. It all matters. It is all connected. It is all important. Find a way to stay with the shapes, Rebecca. Square, circle, square, circle, square. My house is a square, and our field is made of 2 rectangles. I guess the pond is a wonky circle, and inside the oak tree's trunk there are hundreds of them, concentric circles, red circles. A red circle? Click. I am trying to remain in this room, but here is made of and connected to so many other places, some of them near, some of them far, some of them square, some of them circles. I am trying to remain in this moment, but now is made of all the things that were and all that will be. I want to go home, to the place where the here and now is safely held within a boundary of trees and hedges. 2 acres of dirt, and a swatch of red sky in the morning, blue sky at lunchtime, and red sky at night. Red, sailor's warning, sailor's delight. Red sky, red circle, click. Red, blue, rose, delphinium, dahlia, anemone, bluebell, tulip, forget-me-not. But I have forgotten. Time has stopped flowing and become a pool of superglue. I am stuck in it, held fast by primary colours. Beyond this screen, I know there is a world where red circles are spotted poppies I sowed in autumn, and blue squares the sharp-edged cornflowers. In that place, shadows and whispers guide me. They show me how to stare at the curves and corners of red and blue swaying in the wind, watch a dronefly settle to take a little nectar, and wait for the understanding to land in me, as it always does, in the tiniest fragments, pollen caught in bristles and then flown away across the many miles. My land is out of reach now, a journey of many thousands of miles over treacherous seas. All I have is a red square. Red square? I don't remember what a square is, but I am sure I never want to see one again. I can't think why I have to click this button, but I'm certain that I must. I look for the horizon, a point of focus, and there is something. A red square, no. A red circle, no. A circle? A hole? A great absence. Darkening, deepening, pulling me toward it. I click. I don't click. I click, but I'm past the point of no return. Click, click, click. I stretch, I bend, I disappear. I have become earth now, crumbled to a fine tilth and blown into the cracks of the keyboard, lost between the A and the S and the D. I am sifted so fine that I could plant carrots in myself and they would grow straight and true. But it is too dark for anything to grow here, in this place where I am lost. There are only squares and circles, flying past me relentlessly, seemingly at random, an endlessness of commas, never a full stop, red, blue, comma, 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 comma. The world as I know it has ended. The homestead demolished, the animals vanished, the crops and the flowers died back. A felled forest, a black hole, white noise and then silence. Even the swirl of the wind has stopped. Paying attention is a form of reciprocity with the living world. receiving the gifts with open eyes and open heart. Robin Wall Kimmerer, Braiding Sweetgrass. Part 1. Spring 2019. January. I fall. It is dark on this moonless night. The ground is uneven, and the half bottle of wine makes me forget to place each foot deliberately, as I have trained myself to do. I am laughing one moment, and the next, side-lit by the pub window, I am falling through 3 places at once, upright and moving forward, tilting and tumbling down, stationary and horizontal. I land eventually, my knees and palms pressed into the wet pavement. I try not to cry. Down here, I spot mud and grass smeared on the side of my good shoes, a gift from my field, no doubt. My hands are skinned, and there's a pain somewhere else too, but I pay more attention to the 2 men in front of me, turning their heads in interest and amusement. I'm fine, so like me, what a klutz, I say to the friend I'm out with for the night, rolling my eyes faux affectionately at myself and performing my best version of a capable, calm and unhurt woman with an unfortunate but cute habit of tipping herself onto the floor. It's a routine I do well. I'm okay, really, don't worry. Let's go on somewhere, have another drink, I say to her, smiling as I jack in the box up. My friend has had a tough time of late, and I know she needs me for an uncomplicated night out. As I walk through the narrow streets of the old town with her, I let myself feel the pain in my knee for a moment, and I can tell that I'm probably not so okay after all. This fall is a thing to be carefully managed by my internal PR agency. I play a tactical game of deflection, telling my friend lightly about the 4-year-old me who went to school and was swiftly given the girl with 2 left feet tag. I paint a funny picture of my scruffy little self emerging from the classroom, dragging a grungy teddy behind me, sweetly stuccoed with bandages, ripped clothes, and undone braids. I compress the story into 3 minutes, ending with 4 weeks ago when, attempting to show my children that I could leap gazelle-like from one wooden stepping stone to the other, I fell, idiot-like, in the adventure playground and bruised both knees so badly that I couldn't drive for a week. I draw a line under all this with minimising laughter, and then return to celebrating my friend's brave new life, which, with as much of my heart as I can muster, is what I am here for. In the background, as I pay attention to her, I also think of my clumsiness, the part of me that's still constantly tripping over, bruising my hips and shins on the edges of furniture, ripping waistbands off jeans and destroying my overalls by catching the straps on door handles. This me is still a 4-year-old, unsure where the edges of her body are, where the floor and walls begin, but not having any idea why. I can't bear that I fell in front of strangers, and an image of the men swivelling in amusement keeps popping up in my thoughts as we walk. A little vignette of embarrassment and self-loathing that will stay on a loop for much longer than it should, taking turns with the playback of my stepping stone fall. That time, no one noticed me hit the ground. Not the children, racing joyfully away from me, the backs of their sweaters covered in leaf mould, or my husband, sitting on the nearby bench, looking at his muddy boots. I stayed down there for a while, my nose against the bark chippings for long enough to spot a woodlouse creeping between 2 logs and to realise how like a tiny armadillo it looked. As it worried its way into the woody darkness, my shock and embarrassment coalesced into anger, but as ever, I wasn't clear who it was I was angry with. Later tonight, in a wine bar bathroom, I sit on the cold toilet seat and try to pull down my tights. They are stuck fast to my skin, glued with blood from the 4-inch gash that runs from the bottom of my knee on a diagonal that splits my shin. I instantly hate this cut and the little limp it is making me do. So I cover it up. I go back out into the bar, glad of my long skirt. I refuse to limp, and am extra witty extra clever, and extra outgoing. Later, lying on my friend's spare bed with the ceiling spinning gently above me, I will think that while most people are made of 60% water, I am largely composed of smoke and mirrors, held together with shame. The next morning, I scraped the ice from my car before driving back across the flat, reclaimed land that lies between my rare night away and our home. A patch of frozen mud, a 2-acre plot of land that Jared, our 2 children and I moved to in 2017, in hopes of living a simpler, more self-sufficient life. The light is low, and clouds hang heavily over the reeds that border the water along the roadside. It's stark and beautiful, with occasional glimpses of swans and a liberal sprinkling of Romney sheep. In summer, we'll all walk lazily along the reclaimed salt marsh that this sheep breed is named for, enjoying the gentle power of English sunshine, spotting wildflowers, butterflies and bees, and arguing about whether 10 a.m. is too early for our picnic lunch. Today, as I return to our plot, I notice the mess first, as always. The weeds and grass that encroach on the gravel driveway, piles of leaves we have found time to rake but not collect, a heap of broken bricks we plan to use as hardcore when we finally get around to filling in the flood waiting to happen car inspection pit dug by the previous owners. The paddock gate reveals a motley collection of field shelters, sheds and hen houses that contain an even motlier crew of geese, goats, chickens and ducks. Their comforting cacophony starts as I exit the car, desperate to let me know that they haven't yet been fed. Even though I'm in my good clothes and nice shoes, I walk straight through my garden toward the animal sheds. My borders offer the first glimpse of primroses telling winter to move along now. Hellebores and the spidery leaves of anemone coronaria give welcome respite from the endless brown, and my boots inadvertently trample a host of particularly keen daffodil shoots that ring the fruit trees in our little orchard. The season's early adopters are out in force this morning, but it still takes the faith I've been cultivating to believe in spring's coming in the sharp cold of this January day. I pass the almost empty vegetable garden and tuck behind our beech hedge to let the animals into the field. The gang cheer me, as they always do. A chuckle at the way the ducks chase our cats, beaks down, sheer gumption making them the unlikely winners in every encounter. The goat's distinct preferences for being stroked and scratched, amber on her ear, bell on the sides of her golden face, and their daily attempts to escape and nibble my rose cuttings, the hairy little fools. The white hen, who streaks straight to the end of the field every morning to get into the hollow tree where she insists on laying her eggs. Limping a little, I crouch down by the chicken shed to check if anyone remembered to collect the eggs last night. And as my knee bends, the new scab breaks, letting blood through. It barely hurts, but I wince anyway with the thought of the night before. Out in today's morning quiet, I put my ungloved hands on the ground and try to be here now, instead of there then. The earth feels cold, grass crispy with a light coating of frost, a present moment shimmer camouflaging something more permanent below. I brush a few of the frost crystals aside with my fingers and put more pressure on the field's surface. Today, the frozen crust gives way easily, revealing only the wet clagginess beneath. My ground, my mud. It is why I am here, this clay, this land, to return to it, get back to it, to raise my children in it, to try naively to live the good life, the simple life, a life where this ground supports us. Today, and every day this week, our plot of land is hard with the cold. The pond is a solid brown lump of ice, much to the surprise of the ducks, who waddle over to it every hour or so on a Groundhog Day loop of bewilderment. I find myself humming In the Bleak Midwinter as I do my morning rounds with the animals, and discover that the hose, rain barrel, and all the buckets and drinkers have turned to solid ice. I replace the frozen drinkers with makeshift troughs and bowls, which will themselves freeze over in an hour.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?